I'd like to share some thoughts related to polyamory versus cheating. And I've been on both sides of that. I used to cheat during my 20s, and since then I've told the people that I cheated upon, so this is no revelation should they run into my video. But I have changed a lot since then. I now identify as polyamorous and have for some time. And I believe there are probably at least 100 times more people, if not 1,000 times more people, that are cheating as opposed to those that are polyamorous. And I believe that this is in part because the polyamory movement is still rather new. And it's also in part because even if somebody wants to be in more than one relationship, jealousy prevents them from their partner having the same freedom. So cheating is a way that you can try to have what you want but prevent your partner from having what they want. And I know that when I was cheating, I would tell myself what they don't know doesn't hurt them. And I truly believe that. And now this is before I believed in our interconnectedness on a spirit level. This is before I believed in karma and so forth, and it all just made logical sense to me. If you don't get caught, what's the harm? But what I didn't realize is that guilt gets projected upon other people. And so if you're doing something that you're withholding from this person that you supposedly love more than anyone else, then you're going to feel bad about it on some level if you have empathy. And not telling that person means that they then are a reminder of your guilt. So it creates other kinds of problems in the relationship. Now, I think that karmically, the most damaging aspect of cheating is taking away the other person's free will, because that's what it boils down to. You know that they might not want to be with you if they knew you were intimate with someone else. And so you just take away that option. You take away their free will to make that choice. And so I think that that leads to just really poor systemic events in people's lives. I've had to burn off my own karma. It took me years to burn off karma for my past behavior. And because we all deserve to know what's going on so that we can make informed choices in our life. So if somebody takes away knowledge of their actions to limit our choices, that just is not fair. It is not something that we would want done to us. And so it is, cheating is a way to try to become yourself at the expense of your partner being able to be who they are and who they would prefer to be. There's so much cheating going on. There's more than half of marriages have at least one person who is cheating or has cheated. And all of this lying, all this deception, it just doesn't allow for people to feel love for who they are. There's so much shame and guilt and anger and resentment beneath this game playing that it just does not create a foundation for love. So I feel that polyamory is a way for people to transition into a life where they authentically feel they don't want to be with one person. They can handle it honestly, even if there's going to be loss. You might not be able to create that kind of life with your current partner, but I think that on an energetic level it is much it's much more conducive to a peaceful mind and a healthy life if you decide to be honest and then see what happens from there. And if you cannot be honest in an open relationship with somebody that you're currently with, then perhaps that's not the person you're supposed to be with, if that's who you are. I think that a lot of people who are cheating if they can learn how to transcend jealousy and that kind of ego desire to be special, they would be a lot happier overall if they were polyamorous, because you don't have to keep track of so much. You don't have to sneak around and compartmentalize your thoughts and so forth. And it gives you the opportunity to be loved for who you are. For a lot of people, the way they're conditioned, the way they're socialized, you cannot be loved if you love more than just them. You cannot be loved if you are sexual with more than just that person. It's simple, and it's so reinforced. Even if it doesn't make sense, there's a common belief system that that is the case. There's a huge degree of attachment to what most people do sexually. The attachment is by their partners. This all stems from, a lot of different kinds of messages that we get about what is love and so forth. But if you are finding yourself desirous of being with someone else, it doesn't mean that you do not love your partner. It doesn't mean that you don't care for and respect that person. But being dishonest is where the respect ends. So that's why it's so crucial to question your socialization and realize that although there may be some people who authentically only want to be with one person for decades and decades and decades on end, intimately, that's not true for a lot of people, and it's clearly not a system that is functional. So all of this guilt, I think it spreads around other areas of our lives, and it makes people dissatisfied. I think it makes them more likely to turn to distractions and addictions and so forth, because they feel incongruent. They feel trapped because on one hand they want to be with someone else, but they don't want their partner to have that same freedom, and they feel guilty about these thoughts or these actions. And so there's just a big muddled mess in the minds of many people regarding their sexuality. And so many people, if they could have the freedom to be with more than one person, but their partner didn't have that freedom, they would do it in a heartbeat. So it's the hypocrisy that needs to be overcome, and that takes working on oneself and taking the risk of being known, taking the risk of sharing things about who you are, so that who you love knows who they're trying to love back. I think so many people are much, much more known by their friends than by their lovers, because your friends are more likely to allow you to be honest about every aspect of your life, including your sexuality. And most people, the way the world is today, they don't get to that place with their lovers. And so they just, try their best to conceal aspects of themselves that are wrong in their head, that are bad, as opposed to just seeing that sexuality is a big part of who we are. In many cases, it's a strong aspect of how we express ourselves in terms of our intimacy and our love, and that sexuality is actually a natural function of feeling close to somebody. So the way that many people cope with preventing themselves and preventing their partner is to kind of close off from others, because it's too scary. If you start feeling close emotionally, then that may be followed by the desire to touch, the desire to feel close physically as well. So there's a lot of people that are just kind of closed off by these inherent socialized rules. They experience diversity through vicarious means of television and movies and so forth. But for a lot of people, such as myself, it's just not enough to have a vicarious experience. I want to, in this life, transcend my ego and let go of any need to be special. and let go of controlling other people, let go of controlling myself or suppressing other people. And that's why polyamorous a lifestyle of letting go is appealing to me. And it's also part, for me, I think, of my spiritual path. It's a real way to work on the ego, get comfortable with myself, live honestly, and try to love people without the artificial conditions of exclusivity and so forth. And I think a lot of people who are cheating or tempted to cheat would also find it a more enjoyable way of living as well. I think that given the opportunity, people would prefer to live honestly. It helps the mind stay at peace. Thanks for listening.